Welcome back to Benny's Custom Works, proudly brought to you by Haltech. This week, something a little bit different. We are in Osaka and we're about to get mobbed by old love. And she mobbed me so hard, we are now back in Australia. As you can see, obviously I'm not in Osaka right now, but I'm not that good of a storyteller on the fly. So what we're gonna do is go through all of the footage, explain kind of what's happening each day. The first 2 days we are in Osaka, so gonna see some sights and some cruising around Osaka. Then we are gonna get on the road and head to Suzuka. So let's chill out in Osaka and we'll be in Suzuka in a minute. Now, this isn't the first time I've actually been to Suzuka Circuit before. The cool thing that probably not a lot of people are aware is there's actually a massive theme park at the circuit. And if you buy the passport ticket, that means you've got access to the actual race circuit and also to the theme park. The day we went was a weekday, I think it was a Friday, and there was like 30 people in the park. There was not a line for the whole thing. The kids were hot lapping most of the rides there as well. So I don't know if there is or isn't a peak season, but yeah, for us, we had so much fun, like just being able to whip around, and we actually left early. We arrived about 9 o'clock in the morning. I think we got on the road about 2, 3 o'clock because we were just wrecked from just being on so much stuff. We'd anticipated kind of fairly reasonable lines, but no, we just whipped around and had a blast. Heaps of different rides as well for different ages. Like there's something for everyone. There's like boat rides and roller coastery type stuff. Get on the chip. It's pretty impressive considering this is at a racetrack. There's actually motorbikes you can ride. They're all electric, but in a previous episode, I think Marty and I were riding them on the last Japan trip we did about almost a year ago to the day. So if you're game enough, you can squeeze yourself on a kid's bike that's the size of a 16-inch balance bike. Highly recommend. Drag your knees. I didn't fit in most of the fucking rides though. Like this roller coaster one, my knees were like hard up against a hard fiberglass dash. So this is when I actually went to the race circuit side of the venue, and they had there was a GT race on the Saturday. So this was the Friday. I can't remember if it was a 500 or 1,000 kilometer race. But it's a fully international GT race, so there was actually teams from Australia there as well as around the world being international. But yeah, there's all sorts of stuff going on. There was cars on the circuit, which you guys are about to see as well. Always cool stuff in the paddock. Interestingly, one thing I did notice in the pits compared to Australian race circuits, all of the trucks are like medium to heavy rigid. There's not a lot of separate truck trailer combos, which is actually pretty consistent through the whole of Japan. There's not a lot of prime mover style trucks with a trailer. They're all medium and heavy rigid trucks, surprisingly. And I found a motor compo, which was cool. All sorts of random stuff. Found the Australian team, or one of the Australian teams there. Set 1,000 on the lap counter, so I'm assuming that's a 1,000 kilometer race. But yeah, sitting in Suzuka watching these cars going around was just really sick. And as I mentioned before, yeah, your ticket, if you buy the passport ticket, it gets you access to the entire venue. So the kids are currently running wild at the Suzuka theme park. Cool stories. Nip across into the paddock and have a quick squeeze. It looks like there's a 1,000 kilometer GT race on today, but oh, mate's telling the story.
Having intermission, everyone's having lunch at the moment, all sorts of.
So as you just heard, I was trying to work out what's actually going on, but it turns out it was a test day for the race day the next day.
So it mustn't be just like a
cool stories. Here we go. Here's the good stuff. Oh, that Mercedes. How good's the noise? It's like a Benny Reacts video.
You saying they're V8?
I believe the Mercedes cars are V8. I'm not sure about all of them. And that was pretty much it for Suzuka. So now we are heading north to Nagoya. It's about a 2.5 hour drive from memory to where we ended up staying. We weren't directly in Nagoya itself, for a little bit out, because as we learnt throughout this trip, accommodation is fairly challenging for 4 people in one room. So obviously we're traveling as a family, 2 kids, 2 adults. If you're traveling larger groups of adults, it doesn't matter, twin share, whatever. But yeah, trying to get everyone in one room was a bit challenging, and then that led us to having to pick weird rando accommodation. And as it turns out, it doesn't always translate perfectly. So the room we had this night actually had basically 2 king single beds, which weren't particularly comfortable, but we made do. So yeah, we're currently heading to Nagoya. I will say Google Maps worked flawlessly the entire trip as well. The van we had was a Toyota Esquire, I think, from memory. Had Apple CarPlay. Interestingly though, current brand new vehicle, it was rented directly from Toyota, not a hybrid, which I was very surprised by. We're here at the Toyota Commemorative Museum of Industry and Technology here in Nagoya. Let's go and check it out. So what you guys are looking at here is, I guess a step back, is Toyota actually started in textiles and moved into automotive. So they developed firstly machines to make textiles, and then the first car they built was in the early 30s, I think. So I'm sure we'll cover that more further forward, but there is a whole section of this museum dedicated to the early textiles machines of Toyota all up to current. Really interestingly, they've developed a ton of different technology in looms and all sorts of stuff, including designing the loom to actually make the material that makes airbags. So it was very interesting for me to watch the process. Some of you guys may know I actually started an auto trimming apprenticeship before I did mechanics. So it was cool to actually see this side of the automotive industry, because there's not really a lot discussed in the textiles and materials side of the automotive space. So yeah, it was cool just as a point of difference to see how Toyota do it, and yeah, what they've got up to. And yeah, this loom running is just really cool to watch. (160 BPM). Someone will go, no, that's 185. This particular loom is really cool actually, because it's weaving tapestries, and we've actually moved now into the automotive component of this museum. So this is the foundry and forging area, where it shows engine blocks and cranks and conrods and all sorts of bits and pieces. And they were actually doing live forging demonstrations on the day, but I missed the forging demo, unfortunately. Old mate's one wheel thing. I think that connected to the push bike to convert it into a motorbike. So this is actually really cool. Toyota themselves pulled down the original buildings that historically Toyota was in. They were the first buildings of the plants and all sorts of stuff. So they actually completely deconstructed them and then reassembled them inside this museum, where they now have the replicas of the original Toyota models that they produced inside these buildings again. So it's pretty cool. They've got, this particular photo is from the building originally. There's a full-scale drawing on the wall as well. So it was really cool to see some of this original heritage stuff. So this particular car here was actually a crash test vehicle that Toyota developed and built. I wasn't aware this sort of thing even existed until the day we went to this museum. So it was never a production vehicle at all. It was purely a vehicle to test accident protection concepts. And there's a heap of cutaway stuff through the whole museum as well. There's a row of different era Priuses. So it's cool to see some of that stuff as well. And now we're into the sort of design phase of the museum, and they've got original sketches, hand-drawn sketches, which have obviously been replicated, but hand-drawn sketches of a lot of different Toyota concept vehicles and some that were put into production. The Holy Grail, that is a Toyota 2000 GT engine, so 6-cylinder, all sorts of fun stuff. And then there's just a smattering of also original Toyotas throughout the museum as well. So old Coronas to Celicas, there's a Sora, a Corolla Tercel, a first edition Camry, there's a Celsior or LS400. There's even a yellow LFA in there as well, which is really cool. So definitely worth checking out. You could easily spend a day there. We were there for about half a day, but yeah, the back half of this museum is really cool, which we're about to go and explore as well. So highly recommend checking this out if you're in Nagoya. So this is a production or a replica of the production line of the original first Toyota model car that was being built. It was kind of explained that this is how the original factories were laid out, with the cars on rails, and then the different sections were basically being built alongside. So you've got the trim, the glass, the bodywork. We have kind of gone backwards up the line, but you can see kind of how these things evolve from literally pieces of sheet metal, hand formed. They've got all sorts of original sort of sheet metal type tools, old spot welders, and all sorts of stuff. So it's really interesting to actually look at the history of how these cars were put together. So this is a demonstration of a stamping machine. I believe this is actually a 60s Crown fender that they're, well, I mean, they're clearly not punching it there, but there's basically the motion the machine's going through. And this is a older generation Prius body dummy fit as well. So it's pretty cool to see just how accurate these robots are by dropping all these pieces on. And as you're about to see, all the robots pull back once they're finished spot welding, and you see the thing sitting there fully assembled. This setup's basically demonstrating final fit up and final spot welding of the shells. The robot you saw previously was like I guess a first weld up and fit up. These guys go through and do all the other stuff that the jigs and fixtures in the previous station blocked welding from. So pretty cool to see how these things are put together. This is basically demonstrating the way they put the clear coat on the vehicles. It's all fully automated process. There's no hand spraying anymore. Hasn't been for a long time actually. So pretty cool to watch this process in place, because it's something I've never actually seen before. The robots are not using a traditional spray gun as I had anticipated. So it's pretty cool to see the setup. This station's demonstrating all the running gear being fitted to the shell. This particular car is actually a JZX90. It's got a twin turbo 1J sitting there. So pretty cool to see this thing go together, and it's a fully automated process. There's really not much human intervention or input. So really cool to watch how quickly it actually marries the running gear up to the body. And yeah, keep in mind also, this is over 30 years old, this technology now, so I'd love to see what the current stuff looks like. So just finished up at the Toyota Museum in Nagoya. We are now heading north towards Tokyo for want of a better location. There's a fair bit of driving on this particular day. I think we drove about 4.5 hours, and it was by far the worst weather day we also had during the whole trip. Good and bad, because we didn't burn a day just with bad weather, not being able to do stuff outside. But inversely, the rain probably added a solid 2 hours to our trip. There was a multi-car pile-up. I think there was actually 2 on this trip as well. So yeah, it burned a fair bit of time. But fortunately, we were in pretty spectacular scenery, even in the flogging down rain. So yeah, you can't really be sad driving around in Japan with all your people. We spent yesterday afternoon driving through some pretty torrential rain and really just horrible conditions. We are now here today at Mihama Beach. This is a really, really nice area. We stayed in a really nice accommodation, traditional Japanese style last night, and they were really, really kid friendly. So yeah, we'll put a little bit of a link in the description of where we stayed last night, because I have actually forgot what it was called. But if you are in this area, I really highly recommend staying there, because it's a lovely outlook. You actually see directly out onto the ocean. You can't quite see Fuji from that accommodation. However, this Fuji is literally a 2-minute walk away. So we're going to do a little bit of a walk around here, then we're going to get on the road and head towards Tokyo.
just made a quick detour. We are in the Hakone area and we've just dropped into the Heian waterfall. It's a nice little chill out spot. Just gives us 5 minutes to kind of relax, and the kids can run around and get out of the car and cause mayhem quietly. So yeah, we're just going to chill out here, check out the spots, and keep cruising around.
That's the thing you notice about traveling, or the thing I notice about traveling is just so much of the flora is different. Like America, I feel like the flora is the coloring is more drab. Like it's almost a bit depressing, and as the vibrant's not as colorful. The vegetation's not as vibrant. But in Japan, it's probably also partly the time of the year too, like in the wet season. So there's tons of water, tons of growth. But yeah, I think that the Japanese countryside is just absolutely beautiful. At this point, we're really starting to get into the outskirts of Tokyo. You can see some of the shot show starts to fill out and gets a bit more built up. Starting to see some really cool cars on the road. Obviously, this Dodge we found was also flanked by an STI and a late model WRX wagon, which in Japan, interestingly, is still badged as a Levorg. Also still tons and tons and tons of 200 series high ace on the road. And yeah, now we're rolling up to Up Garage. So we've made it inside to the Up Garage and there's stuff everywhere. But you've really got to go in with a bit of a game plan, because you've got to work out how to get this stuff home if you do buy it. So think about what you're buying pretty cleverly, because coilovers are pretty much a no-go putting them in a bag. So you want to work out ground freight or anything like that before you start buying up big, because although there's plenty of deals, it's going to get expensive getting it home pretty quick, and you may end up throwing it in the bin at the airport. So keep that in mind. So this is a bit of a gem that I found. Arguably it is a paperweight, but this thing is very cool. This is an original Trustgretti data logger for R32 and R33 GTR, and it's actually 11,000 yen. So for the novelty factor, I think I'm going to take that one home. And here is our Gretti Gratis 9000 data logger. Now, I've actually learned a little bit more about this unit after coming back to Australia. This particular setup is for a 32 or 33 GTR, and it comes with the cable specific for that. There's also external extra cables for sensors and stuff, but I found another guy with one of these, and his one is actually a generic one. So his particular setup is designed to use inputs from Gretti gauges that are already installed in the car. So this setup, however, just intercepts the ECU. It's basically a piggyback system, and this is the data logger itself. So it's got all sorts of inputs in it, and you can put data link into it, 2 lots of signals, power and ground, which I think that cable is here as well. Randomly, it looks like there's actually a video, old school video aerial, so maybe you can actually review the footage, or the data, I should say, directly from this to a TV. I'm really not sure how the thing works, but it also has an old school flash card, which some people older than me may remember using in digital cameras or other data transfer systems. But it's pretty cool that I guess this exists, and it's pretty cool that I saved it from the bin and then dragged it halfway around the world. So I have no idea what I'm actually going to do with it yet, but I'm going to sit it on the shelf and enjoy it. The other cool thing is I do have paperwork, which I think is actually a photocopy, but it is in an original trust envelope, so that's cool. So maybe it was actually mailed to someone. So yeah, this is kind of the operational manual for it, which it's all in Japanese, and who knows what order it's actually supposed to be in. Side note, the other fellow who has one actually offered to send me the software to be able to review the data, but I probably don't even have a computer old enough to do it. And the most important thing out of everything is I've actually got 2 of the legit original stickers as well. So that is probably the coolest part of the whole thing. But pretty stoked with this, and it's going to sit on my shelf of Japanese goodness for a while, I think. Unless I take it to the All Japan Day and try and sell it down there. Who really knows? Back to Japan. This is the large kind of engine components area, and I swear some of this stuff was here last time I was here in 2015. So some of this stuff definitely sits around. We've got a DR30 FJ20 head. As you can see, it's very empty though. It looks like someone's harvested most of the goodness out of it. Random E46, which could be an 8 HP. I don't know. I'm not a gearbox wizard, but that seems cheap. that's basically $100. So if that's an 8 HP, someone in Japan might have a score, but it's not my vibe. So who knows? That's the plates on it. What's that one saying? Not much, but yeah, might be something usable, might not be. Might be a boat anchor, probably why it's still here. So the second level is riders, which is basically up garage, but a lot more motorbike focused, and there's all sorts of goodies. You've got a 15,000 RPM taco for about 120 bucks. There's still a lot more bargains at this store than some of the other ones, which is interesting considering it's a flagship store in the middle of Tokyo pretty much. So definitely worth coming to check it out. And yeah, there's plenty of goodies. We're gonna keep hunting. Well, I've had a bit of a win. Actually got some speakers for the GX81, which I've been chasing. This is the second up garage we've been to. I think I already mentioned that, and the first one really had nothing that I was after. This particular one had some carbon Carrier Zero speakers that I was looking for. I was after the Kevlar ones, but the carbon ones are gonna work. So pretty stoked on that. I did also buy that Trust Data Logger purely as a bit of a novelty factor. It was marked as 10,000 yen, but they obviously discounted it because it was marked down as a junk item. So bit of a win there, but yeah, something novelty to go and sit on the shelf and probably never talk about again, but yeah, something cool nonetheless. Let's keep on trucking. We actually need to go to the airport because my daughter left her iPad there when we arrived, so we're going to try and actually retrieve that now we're back in Tokyo, so fingers crossed, wish us a bit of luck. I know the footage is still showing us driving to the airport, but I realised that we didn't actually film the outcome of the iPad retrieval. We did actually get it back, great success. Japan is an extremely honest country, so yeah, after about 20 minutes of back and forth via Google Translate, we did get the iPad back. And as a bonus, we saw this mint 850R red wagon just chilling at the traffic light. Made a last minute decision to head out to Daikoku PA. I've been in Tokyo a few times, but I've never had a car to be able to actually come out here. You do need to be able to drive in and out of the venue. You can't get an Uber and there is no pedestrian access because it's literally a truck stop or a road stop on the middle of a highway. So it is Sunday night, so I don't know what the turnout's going to be, but we are going to cruise out at 6:51 p.m. So could be a mixed review of what turns out, but it is what it is, and we're going to make the most of it. And we're actually going to grab dinner out there because apparently there's a cafeteria or food kiosk out there as well. So we're going to suss that out and hopefully it works out. But we're going to cruise out there and see what it brings.
In 600 meters, take exit Daikoku Futo towards Daikoku parking area. In 300 meters, turn right.
Well, we have made it down here to Daikoku, and the thing about this place is it is as legendary as you think. Just the sheer spectacle of it. The thing is like a coliseum. You're amongst multiple levels of highway. It's fantastic. That's a Toyota Avalon. What the hell? Oh, all right. So there was no particular theme on this night. It was just whatever kind of turned up. So it was everything from older, like 60 series GXs, like there's a GX61, I think. Evo's random Hypertune sticker on the door I thought was pretty cool. Actually an MCA sticker as well. But yeah, old hot rods, 59 Caddy, literally everything. Toyota Harrier, Beamers, Celades, like you name it, it came out, which I thought was really cool. So the hot tip I got is that the best time to go to Daikoku is actually Sunday morning. They do a cars and coffee type thing, and it seems a bit more chill. Because this is actually an active rest area, they really try and keep noise and people traffic down to a minimum after about 8:30 at night. And as you are about to see, the police shut it down. There is actually a police station and a traffic station or traffic management station in the venue itself. So it's about to kick off and everyone's going to get ushered out the door. This little Peugeot was actually really cool as well, a little 106 left-hand drive. And this GX71 was also floating around. Super neat car. Unfortunately, I didn't catch the owner, but hopefully another day I'll get to see it again. Left-hand drive is mega popular in Japan as well. Heaps of European stuff's left-hand drive, so it's cool to see all sorts of stuff come out. And at this point, the police have just closed the entry to the parking area. So they're turning cars around at the entry and sending them straight back out the exit. Shut pretty quickly. The police have actually closed it. And I'm just talking about it now anyway. So we're just going to bail and not be part of the problem so that people can actually get rest, because it actually is an active truck rest. So we should respect that, and they can go to bed because it's 8:13 p.m. We're now in Tokyo for the rest of our trip. So the next few days we're going to be running around doing heaps of kid stuff, going to Disney, all sorts of fun stuff. Give you guys a little bit of a look at that, but not too much, because I know obviously this is not a full-on travel vlog channel. Probably going to try and do a little bit more car stuff in Tokyo. Try and go to the Autobox flagship store. Didn't go there. Maybe try and get to Liberty Walk as well, but we'll have to see where they're placed around other things I'm already going to. So plenty more to come, but yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying the trip so far. 70 series Cruiser, 80 series Cruiser, 80 series Cruiser. Fair chance they're going to be exported. The last few days have been pretty hectic at Tokyo Disneyland, so today we're going to be going to Team Labs. So Team Labs is kind of an immersive art installation. Pretty cool thing to go and do and explore and just enjoy it as a total separate thing from all the car stuff we did. They actually make you walk up a ramp that has water to clean your feet. It's pretty freaking cool. As much as I'm not really into like the whole arty-farty thing, it was pretty impressive to see how they used projectors and mirrors and selective lighting to make the place look absolutely massive. But I would love to see what this looks like just with the normal lights on, with everything else off, because I reckon the room was actually quite small, but you really couldn't gauge the depth or the size of the room because of, like I said, selective lighting and a lot of mirroring. So it's pretty cool.
Open and flat.
Oh, I don't like this. I'm out, see ya. This particular room really messed with my depth perception, and I felt just constantly sick. Like I do from time to time get motion sickness, and this particular room, I couldn't kind of get a horizon or a datum, so I just kind of, it threw me out, and instantly I felt like I was going to spew, so I bailed out of here pretty quick. God, even watching it back, I'm not going so great. I'm like, oh God. So the next few bits are a lot more interactive. This particular lighting responded to touch or movement. And there's all sorts of more interactive installations. Further on as well, you actually get to see, or the kids get to do drawings, and then they're scanned and projected into a artificial world, I guess. So you can just see that to the right of screen now, and we'll have a bit more close up on that in a second. Or not, because now we're smushing lizards. Yeah, so this is the section where everyone gets to do their drawings, and yeah, as you can see now, this massive screen is where they project and animate and turn them into 3 dimensions. Now this section is, well, the last section we went into, and these are all live plants suspended on spools or reels, so whenever you go near them, they'll either go up or down. So that was pretty cool. And this is the last section as you basically exit the installation. It's I guess a futuristic forest. We're about to bail out of Team Labs and head to Shibuya, so let's keep on trucking. We've made it to the Shibuya crossing. This place is absolutely chaos, so let's stand for a minute and watch how it unfolds. There are tours you can do in Japan or in Tokyo specifically that drive around. This particular tour is GDR's. Some of these guys actually also take you out to Daikoku PA as well, so that can be another way to actually get out there and experience it as well. So we're actually about to go up to Shibuya Sky, which is a viewing platform. The Shibuya Sky. Now this is, and I'm telling you about it anyway. We've just got to the top of the Shibuya Sky. Now this is a totally different outlook on the Tokyo city. I'll highly recommend, if you can get up here, to come and check it out. You can actually see Shibuya crossing as well. So we've just been down there on the ground having a look at ground level, and now we're up here about 45 stories up. So it's pretty cool to check it out. So we're going to have a bit of a walk around, then we're going to go back to ground level. The f***ing gypsy taxi. My one tip for traveling around Tokyo, if you are going to use taxis, obviously the train is probably the most economical way of doing it, but with kids, and especially late at night, it was a bit challenging. They were tired and whatever, so we wanted to get back to the room. My best results with taxis were using Uber to book the taxi itself, because you're putting the pickup and the arrival or the destination into the app. There's no confusion, and it tells you how much it's going to cost straight away. The one negative experience we did have with a taxi, which it's a tourist hotspot, so it is what it is. We got picked up at Shibuya Crossing and then went back to Ginza, and the taxi to Shibuya was like $20, and the taxi back to Ginza was nearly $80. So we went the entirely wrong direction. We went out of Tokyo and then came back around the outskirts. I don't know if old mate was trying to avoid tolls or something, or if it was just deliberate tourist trap. But yeah, my pick if you are going to use cabs is to try and just book through the Uber app, because it worked really well. And they turn up when they say they're going to turn up. We also did book a cab to the airport using the same method. The cab was there on time and we got to the airport with plenty of time. So that's my rando travel tip when you're in Tokyo. We're at the airport, it's before 6 a.m. and it's early. We are getting on our flight today because we booked a day flight. And basically yesterday we went to a place called Kidzania, and about 2/3 of the way through filming I realised that if we actually film anything to do with children, we have to make the channel kid safe. Effectively it changes all the algorithms and everything, so unfortunately we're not going to be actually showing anything we did yesterday, purely just based on the child-based content. That sounds really creepy, but you get what I mean. So yeah, we're pretty much going to pack it up. But I thought I would talk about a few little things that I noticed on this trip, specifically about cars compared to other trips. Dual cab utes are actually really infiltrating the market in Japan. Hilux and Triton are really, really popular. There's tons of 70 series Land Cruiser, like the current 70 series Land Cruiser. Interestingly though, they are 4-litre V6 powered like the Australian Hilux. They're not diesel. There's tons and tons of older cars making their way back onto the road in Japan. I don't know why, possibly sign of the times economy wise. Maybe there's just more enthusiast vehicles popping up. Maybe now they're worth something, people are actually dragging them out of fields and driving them again. I'm not exactly sure, I can't really work it out, but I've never seen so many 80 series Land Cruisers, all of the JDM hero cars, for want of a better term, like JZX 100s. I've seen tons of those on the road this trip. I don't know why, but yeah, like I said, they seem to be coming out of the woodwork, which is pretty strange, but also cool to see them on the road. Yeah, this pretty much rounds up the trip, and yeah, I don't really know what the video looks like yet, but I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.